KMSU.
Hello, is this Dustin?
This is Dustin.
Yeah, this is Jellybean Johnson. How you doing, man?
I am awesome. How are you doing today?
I'm hanging in there.
Excellent. Well, I appreciate you taking the time out. I'll introduce you to my co-host, Ton.
Okay.
Hey there, how you doing?
How you doing, Tim?
I am doing great. I'm glad we got you on the line. If you are ready to go, we will get started.
Okay, yeah.
Beautiful. Well, I guess first, just talk to us about how you got into playing music. What sparked it for you? How old were you? Talk to us, man.
Well, I got into music when I was, I want to say 12, 13 years old. For years and stuff, I used to beat on pots and pans and stuff in the kitchen, in my mom's kitchen and stuff. And every Christmas from the ages from 10 to 11, she would buy these drum sets, but they were like paper and shit, and they'd be tore up by, Christmas night. So when I turned 13, she finally got me a drum set that I couldn't destroy and stuff. And that's where I got started. And then I started teaching myself how to play the guitar when I was 13, or 15, actually. And it's been that way ever since.
Well, can you talk to us a bit about, I guess, the early days when you were playing around Minneapolis and, especially with Flight Time and, kind of the shape of the Minneapolis sound kind of taking over in those early days?
Yeah, I was 15 years old, and I met, actually, we had the band Flight Time. It was about, I want to say 11 of us, because it was me and Terry Lewis and David Island and Cynthia Johnson from Funky Town fame and all that. And we just had this love for music. We were all in different high schools. We played play against each other in basketball and all that kind of stuff. But we lived on the north side of Minneapolis, and we just came together, it just turned into something that, was a nice hobby. Let's say it just kept us out of the street and kept us doing crazy stuff. And it just went from there. We were rival bands against, Prince was right up the street with Andre Simone. They had Grand Central and we had Flight Time. And these were our early years when we were teenagers. And so that's kind of where I wanted to say it started. But, the Minneapolis sound starts with Prince. Prince was the first one of us to really make it. And we just snowballed after that. Everybody else came kind of after him. So.
Well, being around Prince and kind of playing around the same areas, could you kind of sense that there was something happening there? Or was it just, some guys that went to the same high school and were, just playing music?
Well, I knew from the first time I met Prince when I was 12, 13 years old. I knew he was a special talent. I just didn't know if he was going to make it big, and I didn't realize that until 1978 when he came out with his first record. He was always, special even when we were kids. You could tell that he was an exceptional talent. And I like to think that we were exceptional too, but we never thought of get big at that point. We just wanted to, keep doing our music, and hopefully somebody would discover us and it would happen. But, we didn't realize the phenomenon that it turned out to be. We didn't when we were kids. We was just playing music, just trying to have a good time. And like I say, trying to stay out of trouble.
So then from that, you're running around and playing shows and whatever. And how did that end up becoming, how did you join in or form the Time? How did that end up happening?
Well, the Time happened because Prince and Morris were in Grand Central together, and of course Prince made it big, and he left, and his first year out, had Andre his first year out on the road. Morris went out with him, but Morris was just filming him and stuff like that. So anyway, Morris wrote a song for him called "Party Up," and Prince made him a deal. He said, "I can give you money, or I can give you a band," and Morris chose the band. So they had a meeting and stuff. We already had Flight Time going, but Morris, was a drummer in another band and stuff. And plus, I was a drummer in Flight Time, so that was a problem right there. So they had a meeting and stuff. And Alexander Neal was originally supposed to be the lead singer for the Time, and Morris was supposed to play drums. And I was going to have to play with somebody else. But turned out they went to the meeting, and Alex didn't act right with Prince. And if you know Prince, that ain't going to fly. So he told Morris to go back and get me, and Morris was going to sing. Well, Morris didn't want to sing, but Prince told him, "Well, I can teach you. I'll teach you what to do." And thus, that formed the Time. It was me, Terry Lewis, Jimmy Jam, Morris, Jesse Johnson, Jerome, and Monty Moore.
So did you guys all know that his plan was to play everything on the albums and just have you guys kind of do it on the road? Was that up front with that?
Well, yeah, we was up front with Morris about that, because back then, Prince was virtually a one-man band then anyway, with the exception of Morris playing the drums. And so that was the thing. That was his way of doing that. And which was, we didn't have a problem with that because we all knew we were all world-class musicians on our own right. I guess we've proven that over the years that everybody's had hits on their own and stuff around here. But of course, at first, it's like, oh, damn, it's kind of bummed. We didn't get to play with all them. But the music was so great that it didn't matter after a while. And it worked itself out.
So, yeah, I mean, you mentioned it's like Prince can play drums and Morris can, and then you're kind of the drummer of the band.
It's a bunch of multi-purpose people around here. If you know anything about Minnesota music, man, we got a bunch of guys that play 2 or 3, 4 instruments well.
Yeah.
Trust me. I travel around this country all the time. I tell people, I say, nobody has a music scene like we do in Minnesota. And they think I'm joking until they come here, And you can go somewhere 7 nights a week. If you take your time, you can find something decent to see every single night here, by some great musicians.
So in those days, really, you were still just happy to be playing.
Well, it'd be going to a 9 to 5, because I had done the 9 to 5 thing. Actually, when I joined the time, I was in college. So, I was going to the University of Minnesota, and so, after I joined them full time, of course, I had to stop that. But, it worked itself out. I was able to pay my bills and take care of myself, which has been that way for the most part for the last 30 years. So there are worse jobs, trust me. There are.
And talk to us about how you ended up working on the film, Purple Rain.
Well, after the second tour with Prince wanted to do a film, but we had internal strife in the time because he fired Terry and Jimmy. So that wasn't flying too well with us because we had spent 2 years helping to make the money to get do Purple Rain. But it turned out it worked out. So Terry and Jimmy and Monty left, and so we got some places for them and stuff. And the thing I remember about Purple Rain was just going to like acting class and all that stuff, before we even did the film at 5 a.m. in the morning and pirouetting around and, doing dance classes and all that crap and stuff. But it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. It was in the dead of winter. And I just remember being on them sets at like 5, 6 o'clock in the morning and stuff. But it turned out to be a great film, man. So, you can't fight the results. It turned out to be okay. So it was a historical movie, so.
Yeah, for sure. It's kind of bad timing for the time because really you guys were kind of over before the film came out, and I can't imagine you guys thought the film would be as big as it was. No.
We had no idea. But, that's the thing. And my only regret about this, like I said, is the original band should have been in that film, and it wasn't, But, like I said, it worked itself out. Because the original band is what the time in Prince and Vanity 6, that's where all that, came from, man. In the movie it's Apollonia 6, but it really should have been Vanity 6. But that's all water under the bridge now. So.
Well, I know after the time broke up, you stuck around and worked with the band The Family, and
yeah, with Paul.
I guess I want to know what the process was as far as recording. Did you guys have any input in any of the albums, or was it basically Prince handed you a tape and said, "Learn these songs for the tour"? Or?
Pretty much. He worked with Paul and Susanna. Well, Susanna was his girlfriend at the time, so that already was built in already. And he was putting Paul as in acting school and lessons and all that. He was going to make him really big, but the thing is, he forgot to put him under contract. And so when it came out, Paul was out in Hollywood, as a free agent, basically, with just a okey doke, and he got signed by MCA. Well, like I said, if you know anything about Prince, that's not gonna fly. It's not gonna fly, But here, Paul's an 18-year-old kid, and a record company offers you $250,000 to record. What you gonna do?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what he did. So the Family, we had the top 10 hit with Screams of Passion, but that band played one show. One show at First Avenue, and that was it. I mean, so you think how I felt. Now, at this point, there's 2 bands that's messed up now that I've been in. That all of a sudden, there's 2 bands messed up, and I'm like, okay, what the hell? Maybe I'm gonna have to find that 9 to 5, So anyway, I started doing production work for Flight Time and stuff, and it worked itself out. So
Yeah, that does seem like it would have been a frustrating time. You mentioned The Family only played one show, and you hear a lot of projects started and stopped, and albums recorded and scrapped.
Yeah. It was tough, man. I mean, I love Prince, but I've been through it with him, man. I really have been through it with him. So me and him have a kind of a love-hate relationship. I love that he made me famous, but I hate with some of the stuff I had to deal with, So it's cool. We're almost 60 now. At least I'm almost 60, so I can still pay my rent, so I guess I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, after you left the Prince camp, you started doing more session work.
I started doing sessions. I started doing productions with Flight Time. I had 5 top 10 hits with Flight Time.
Yeah,
I had a number one hit. I had a number one hit song with Janet Jackson called Black Cat. I got more into production, and it was good. I mean, I made money. I didn't make as much money as I should have. I wanted to, but like I said, since we wasn't playing that little lull there, we wasn't playing. So I had to do something. So that was my thing, and that's when my guitar stuff, really started to come out, and my production stuff.
See, and that's plenty big on its own, I would say, to be able to produce, behind the scenes. That's the stuff that I think really even makes the albums and those hits that people don't really realize. So
people just enjoy the finished product, but they don't realize the shit that we go through to get those records out. Because see, when you're a producer, you wear a bunch of hats, and you gotta convince this artist that what you are, the song you're giving them or what you're telling them to sing or whatever, that this is going to work and people are going to like it. The masses are going to like it. And there's some artists that's going to agree with you, and there's some that's not. So as a producer, that's your job to get that out, in addition to getting the music right and all that. But that's your job. You're almost like a psychologist. You got to convince them. Trust me, this is going to work. It's not easy, but the people get the finished product and they just like, they like the song, and they don't know the stuff that you go through to get that out of that person.
So even at the time, Janet Jackson was pretty big. What was it like working with her? Was it easy? Was she under wraps all the time?
Well, no. I mean, she's a Jackson, so there's always some different shit involved with that. But she was cool. Back in the early days when I was working with her, man, she was like a sister to me, and she did whatever I asked. And she was really shy. I mean, when the records I cut with her, we had to kick everybody out of the studio, including my girlfriend at the time. They had to go. It was just me and her. And I got that. I mean, her boyfriend had to go, and it was just me and her, and we got a lot done, But she had that falling with Terry and Jimmy too, so so it was a thing. And she was like, once again, I convinced her, Janet, I'm telling you to do this, it's gonna work. And she's like, Bean, okay. And that's all as a producer you could ask, is for them to give you their best effort, and you get it down, get it on tape, and get it translated and all that shit, and let's go for it. Let's put the shit out and let's see what happens. She's already famous. She's a Jackson. So, it was a great time.
Huh. When you were producing stuff, did you kind of, after working with Prince and him being, so hands-on with everything, did you kind of maybe take more of a relaxed approach and let the artist kind of have more say in things?
Yeah, I did. I learned from, because I sat there with Prince and watched him do things and cuss people out and all that shit. I learned that side, and then I watched the results he would get. And then I watched Terry and Jimmy, who had total different approaches to it. And I just took something from all three of them guys. I just, whatever, I needed to get an artist to do something. I'm a laid back person anyway, for the most part, so all that, I learned that yelling and screaming usually just going to make your artist mad. You're not going to get the results you want. You're just not. You're not. So, I that doesn't work for me. And they wouldn't expect me to do that in the first place. So I learned that quickly in the ballgame. So, yeah.
Well, we know you reunited with the other guys from the time, a couple times over the years, but recently when you guys came back as the original 7, was that different than the other times? I mean, you guys really seem to be more, excited about the future.
Well, we were excited about it, but it turned out to be, and I don't want to sound like a Debbie Downer, but it just, once again, it just did not work out, man. And that's the thing. I think the problem with the original band is that you got too many Chiefs and no Indians, if you know what I mean. Everybody's in there's a powerful personality in their own right and stuff. But somebody got to lay back and let the shit just happen. That doesn't happen when the original guys are together, because you got guys that, first off, Terry and Jimmy sold 100 million records, Morris Day, Jesse's got gold records, and, world-class guitar player. Me and Monty got our shit, so it's just hard. So as people, we love each other. But as businessmen, it always would fall apart. And that's the one regret I have to my date, that band, that's one of the greatest bands to ever walk this earth, never really got out there to the masses. I mean, we never, those first 2 years with Prince is the only time that band really toured around the country and, or was in front of people. Now, the last 20 years, we've been doing more day at a time, but it's just me, Morris, and Monty are the only original members in that band. We got a badass band now. Them guys been with us 20 years. But the original band, we set all that up. But it's just hard. Once again, it was just hard. I've been through some hard, aching stuff with the original band, so it's kind of hard to talk about it.
Yeah, it is too bad that it worked out that way. And
yeah, even from Chris. I mean, Chris would even let us have a name. Original Seven. Come on, Original Seven should have been the time. That's what it should have been.
Yeah,
that's what it should have been. But once again, it's just like when the family came out, we was after Lux. He didn't want us to be the family anymore. It's all about control. Well, at 60 years old, I don't want to be controlled. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't hear that shit. So, it's just me.
Yeah, I can't blame you at all. And I have to even mention, like, we were very excited when that happened and that get together. We were actually at a couple of the events, so we've even met you in person a few times and stuff. Pretty cool. And so then we sort of heard about some of it falling apart. So is it for sure like over? Or do you think it's any possibility of
that part? Unless we get in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I don't think you'll see that band ever again. And I hate to admit that to people. People get really sad when I tell them that, but I really feel that way because I just know like there's 4 other individuals that Jim and Terry, Jesse, and Jerome are on the West Coast. And they got their own agenda, and me, Monty, and Morris are still working all around this country. So, and it just, and knowing this, Morris has been my friend since we were 12, 11, 12 years old. So it left a bad taste in his mouth, too. So he's not in no hurry to get back in it. I know for a fact. And I personally cannot blame him. I can't. So we'll see. I won't say never. I know publicly Terry and Jimmy have said never, and all that. And Jesse has said never, but I won't say that. But I just say I know the reasons why.
Well, what do you have coming up then? I know you're working on a lot of other stuff, and obviously that's not going to pan out. But I'm sure you got a lot of other things in the works.
Well, we're in Tahoe this weekend. We're in Lake Tahoe. I'm leaving tomorrow. We're in Tahoe. Then next Thursday we're in Washington D.C. at the Birchmeier, and then next Saturday we're in Vegas at Sam's Town Casino. So we just the most of the time it's going to bounce around for you. You might see us anywhere. F Deluxe just played maybe its last show at the Dakota November 24th because that's the same thing with that band. It's hard, with the individual members. They such strong personalities. It's hard to get them. Let's go work. This is hard. I don't understand it. It's a great band, but it's just always this push and pull. And at my age, I don't want to push and pull. I want to get on stage, entertain, play for people, and go home. That's what I want to do. Give me my money. I'm gonna go. Really. I ain't got time for all this foolishness, all this. You said this, or he said that, or I got you got problems. Hell, I got problems every day too. I have 8 kids, so the problem's gonna be. There's gonna always be some problems.
Yeah. Yeah, we understand. Well, that's great. We're excited to possibly see. You think the time's going to be playing Minneapolis anytime? Can we expect that at any time?
At any time. You can expect it any time, man. I can't say when. People ask me that all the time because they see us all around the country, but I never know when we're going to pop up here. Last year we popped up here for a handful of corporate things and stuff like that. So you'll hear, if we show up, you'll hear about it. Trust me.
Beautiful.
Hey, man, y'all take care of yourselves. Great to talk to you.
Yeah, you too. It's been an honor having you on. Thanks a lot, Jellybean.
All right, much love. Peace.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.